Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. The video that I have for today, we're going to be actually giving an update on a video that I made a while back. The video that I'm referring to is this one. I'm wearing the same flannel shirt. This one, and I've got kind of a better representation of the video right here. This is the case of the killing of 13-year-old Cynzia Reed by Craig Butler. This happened in the West Side Wedgwood neighborhood of Columbus, Ohio. This is a low-income housing project. And a man named Craig Butler was arrested and charged with murder in the killing of 13-year-old Cynzia Reed. He was later released from jail and the murder charges were dismissed. Recently, the case went to a grand jury and he was brought up on new charges, but I'll get to that here in a moment. I made a video on this topic, and in the video, I showed a lot of circumstantial evidence, comments on social media from Cynzia's friends and family, as well as people who claim to be witnesses of the event. And in the video, one thing I said was, look, I think that down the road, we're going to see that witnesses told police that Cynzia had a firearm, and we're going to see evidence that Cynzia had a firearm and was shooting at Craig Butler, and that Craig Butler fired back at Cynzia, and that is going to be the reason these charges were dismissed. One of the reasons I was able to make that statement is because I know people, and I had called around. I talked to some people in the local media. I have even talked to a lot of police officers, and based on the information that I was given, it was very clear that Cynzia had a firearm, was shooting at Craig Butler, who then retreated to his vehicle, got his own firearm, fired back at Cynzia. For some reason, the police department and the courts, when they dismissed the charges, didn't feel it was necessary or important to release that information. What that did was that led to a lot of speculation, like what we see here. On October the 12th in Columbus, Ohio, 36-year-old Craig Butler Sr. stopped his truck, got out, and shot 13-year-old Cynzia Reed in the back multiple times, killing him, then got back in his truck and drove away. Regardless of the punctuation problems that I see with this, there's also, it's a flat out lie. They're making it sound like this guy, Craig Butler, was just driving along, saw a 13-year-old black guy on the side of the road, got out with his gun, started shooting at him, then got back in his vehicle and drove away. That is obviously not what happened. Well, there's been some new information that was finally released by the courts. That's what we're going to talk about today. It says that according to the prosecutor, witnesses told the police that 13-year-old Cynzia Reed fired first at Craig Butler. What I want to do is I want to look at this through a lens of how we should look at these things in the future and how the media portrays a narrative that causes people to believe a certain thing, and it's wrong. In this particular case, I didn't bring up all of the different headlines, but here is one, and this was on May the 20th. This was after the grand jury where Craig Butler was charged with tampering with a weapon or tampering with evidence and illegal conveyance of a firearm in a motor vehicle. It says, man who claimed self-defense in shooting death of Cynzia Reed avoids murder charge. So this is the headline that they've been going with this whole time, and it's the headline that's got everybody all pissed off. Because what people believed was that Craig Butler shot Cynzia Reed, drove away from the scene, was later arrested, and when he was arrested, he told the cops, listen, this was self-defense. He had a gun. I was just defending myself. I shouldn't be charged. And they think that the police and the prosecutor's office and the court and the judge and everybody looked at that and said, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. White Guy. You know, clearly that boy was black. So it probably was self-defense. We're just going to dismiss the charge. That's the story that these people are going with. And that's the story that has a lot of people fooled. And frankly, it pisses me off. It's dangerous. The whole thing pisses me off for a variety of reasons. One, the fact that his family lied. They knew they were lying. They continued to lie this entire time. Two, the fact that the media writes these headlines and paints this narrative in a way that they know is going to get people riled up. But third, I'm pissed off that the court waited this long. This happened in October. It is now May. That is what, 7 months. It took them 7 months to come out and say, hey, listen, witnesses told the police that Cynthia had a weapon and fired first. That is information that should have been released the day that Craig Butler's murder charges were dropped. And if you remember, this all led to things like I don't know, stupid politicians coming out and saying stupid things. You know what I mean? And then also for months, Cynthia's mom and the rest of his family was out on social media and in the media. This is on the national ABC News YouTube channel. This is an interview that Cynthia's mom did with ABC at one of the morning news shows. And he said, if my son was white, he probably wouldn't have been killed. If your son hadn't armed himself with a firearm and started shooting at somebody, he probably wouldn't have been killed. That's the honest facts of the case. And that's the part that people need to remember. I'm also discouraged by the number of people here. Oh, I can't make this bigger because I'm going to scroll. The way the media was coming out and spinning the story and the way his family was out telling lies about the story is discouraging because it causes people to believe a lie to the extent that they will attack people who are telling the truth. The video that I posted about this is still getting comments to this day, and the people are very upset that I made this video where I said, hey, I believe the information is going to come out that Cynthia had a firearm and shot at him first. You can watch the video for yourself, and you can hear me say that about 4 months ago. Here's a guy that was particularly unhinged, Mark Bolton. He says, you are a perpetrator of myths. Your justification of your years of experience as a police officer carries as much weight as the veterans who stormed the Capitol on the January 6th insurrection. You yourself is being hypocritical by claiming how mass media can be out of control with innuendos and falsehoods, yet you are using social media of a person who you know is not supposedly family member and whose posts would be taken with a grain of salt if established and verified. There's a lot to that, but I want to go to this thing where he says the Dispatch, that's the Columbus newspaper, confirmed that according to court records, eyewitness who knows Butler told police that they saw him exit a truck, shoot Cynthia multiple times, get back in his truck and drive away. This is one of those things that, man, first of all, this guy is just completely unhinged, saying that if you disagree with me, then you're an insurrectionist. That's like this weird bubble that we're in right now, that this thought loop that people can't get themselves out of. The information I had was correct. People need to consider that maybe someone giving out information that doesn't align with your current belief, maybe that person is correct. And you should argue with them based on reality and not based on these superlative facts or assumptions that aren't involved. But he talked about the Dispatch confirmed that they saw Butler get out of his truck, shoot the kid, get back in his truck and drive away. The only information that was given out to the Dispatch was the criminal complaint and the probable cause affidavit. In order to charge somebody with murder, you just need to have probable cause that that person committed murder. The officers who responded to scene and the detectives who later responded and investigated or interviewed witnesses confirmed that Craig Butler is the one that shot Cynthia Reed. Eyewitness testimony confirmed that. So they filed a warrant for his arrest. They wanted to bring him in for questioning. When you file a probable cause affidavit, you don't put in Cynthia Reed was shooting at Craig Butler, therefore Craig Butler got a gun out of his car, shot and killed him. All you do is put the probable cause to support your charge. You don't need to put in facts that would be more relevant to the defense in this particular case. That's one of the reasons that people got very confused by the information that was put out by the media, although the main reason the media was putting that information out is because that's the only information the court would give them and that the police department would give them through official channels. The rest of the information was actually given out through backdoor channels. Therefore, people were not allowed to publish it, and I was not allowed to say it on YouTube either. But like I said, just a few days ago, people are still commenting Sensei did not have a gun. Where is this other one? Oh, right here. This person, this is an interesting comment. If this person really is a family member of Sensei Reed, what they are doing in this comment is that they are out there perpetrating a lie, and it needs to stop. It says, you guys are really ignorant. Why in the world would my 13-year-old nephew walk around with a gun or own a gun? His mother was in the house being a mother like she's supposed to. When kids are outside, we can't protect them from every angle. Let's hope that it's not you guys ever in this predicament. So she says, why would my 13-year-old nephew walk around with a gun or own a gun? Well, here is one of the things this is the picture that gets shared around about Sensei Reed. This is the picture that everybody wants you to believe that Craig Butler was just driving his truck down Wedgwood Drive, I think it is. Stopped his truck, said, I'm going to murder this kid. Got out, shot him, got back in his truck and drive away. That's the story that they want you to believe. They also want you to believe that this picture is not real. When you say, why would my nephew be walking around with a firearm? I don't know. Why is he posing in this picture, throwing up gang signs with other people who are holding firearms and bottles of alcohol trying to look cool? Why is he in this picture throwing up gang signs with a bunch of people who are holding up firearms, flipping off the camera, trying to look cool? Is this image right here? Are they flipping off the camera, or is this some kind of gang sign? What is this? This is Sensei right here with the blue face mask on. These pictures are real. These pictures are Sensei Reed. You tell me, why would he have a firearm? Let's read the rest of it. Why in the world would my nephew have a firearm? His mother was in the house being a mother like she's supposed to be. Are you telling me that his mother was completely unaware that he was hanging out with these people? I find that incredibly unlikely. It says, when kids are outside, we can't protect them from every angle. Let's just hope it's not you guys who are ever in this predicament. I tell you what, I have 2 daughters of my own. I have a lot of firearms in my house. I'm quite confident that this is never a situation that my daughters will ever be in. My daughters don't hang out with people like this. They aren't out there acting like this. They don't carry firearms. They don't start shooting at people that they get in an argument with. Therefore, they will never be in this predicament. Most likely, if my daughters are ever in this predicament, it's going to be because people like the people in this picture right here decided to start shooting at people, and my daughters might be in the background and get hit by a bullet that was not intended for them because of the actions of people just like this, because of the actions of people like Sensei Reed. The fact of the matter is, Sensei Reed is a 13-year-old black boy that lives in a housing project on the west side of Columbus called Wedgwood. Wedgwood is, per square mile, the most violent neighborhood in the city of Columbus. It is dominated by gangs and gun violence. Sensei Reed was part of that crowd that participated in this kind of activity. On October the 12th, 2022, for an unknown reason, him and Craig Butler had some form of disagreement. Sensei Reed produced a firearm and began shooting at Craig Butler. Craig ran to his vehicle, got a gun of his own, fired back, and shot and killed Sensei Reed. This has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with the color of Sensei's skin. If you want to talk about justice and holding the person accountable who is most responsible for the death of Sensei Reed, that person is Sensei Reed. I think that's all I want to say today. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you soon.